Hey everybody, I'm Carolyn from Tranquil Mentor, and we've already put this, we did an unboxing of this ATEZR P20, and what we're going to do is we're going to take it and put the extension on. But this is the assembled part with the smaller, without the extension, and in this video we're going to show you how we're going to go about doing that. First we'll show you the unboxing. And this is a very long box. So we're just holding it across the table with the room that we have. And you can see it's packaged very well, nicely, filled with foam. We did have it upside down, and at the time that we realized it was kind of too late. So we're just going to take it and gently turn it over to right side up. All right, and just being careful of what's coming out of there. And here we have an instruction manual, and it's the KE-ATEZR 1094 extension shaft instruction manual, and that's what we're going to be assembling today. And for now, we're just going to get these edges out. This is the installation manual pages, and I just wanted to show you they're full of color. They're very nicely illustrated, and they've got all the steps in them. And some of the steps to me seemed a little bit out of sequence, but we made it through, and it really wasn't that bad. So what I'm doing now is taking a look at my packing list here to make sure that we have everything. And we're just going through the box. We've got our cable here. They do refer to it as an extension cord. That is for your length. And these are they call them cable buckles. And on the back side of those, they're sticky. All right, and then the cable has, it's very nicely put together and robust. And I'm just going to bring it up to the camera just to show you. It's labeled very nicely. I didn't get a good focus there, but they're each labeled, so the connector ends, so that you'll know exactly where they go. And then there's our cable package, cable buckles they call them again, and I'm still just double checking, going back and forth through just to make sure I have everything that I need. And in this package we have what they are calling a 5-pin to 4-pin transfer line. To me, this really is an adapter, and it's converting from 5-pin to 4-pin. And I'll give you a closer look at that too. It's pretty small, but that's just something to look for. All right, and for step 1 here, remove the motherboard, connection cable, and control box. And there are screws. You do need to get into the inside and approach it from the other side. And they're kind of small, but you just take your time and you can take them out, and that'll loosen up the box. I'm going to show you step 2. It says check whether the power supply terminal of the emergency stop switch is correct. If not, please change the insertion of the needle base according to the figure. And we did have to do that. We did have to change the position of that connector. And what we're doing here is we've got this apart, and we're taking a look through the manual, and I'm trying to get an orientation here of, I want to try to position the box the correct way so that the motherboard connectors are in the same spot as I look at the book. So it's just a matter of orientation here. So here is the step that we're looking at. This is step 3. And everything is color coded on the inside, and you could look around the board here and see where everything needs to go. And I'm just taking an extra look here before I go in, and I didn't want to remove everything all at once because then I might not know where they go back. So what we decided to do was just take our time, look at it, study it. We actually did take a picture of it, and right now, when I first looked at everything, and I guess actually when we first looked at everything, I should say, it looked confusing and a little overwhelming, and we just talked it out and went through it, and we realized that everything was color coded and everything went where it needed to go. There was one wire that was labeled probe, and then on the cable that they supplied it was labeled TTL, but it all worked out. We plugged it in where the initial outlet was that said probe. The antenna here, we're taking a step here to get this wire back in here, and you have to be really careful too here. We're holding it at this angle. We wouldn't do that. We're doing this for the camera. We wouldn't hold that way. You could probably do it by yourself with just leaning it down on the table, but we wanted to hold it up. So do be careful on this step, because you've got the little Wi-Fi antenna is back behind there and the wire is very tiny. You can get it back in because it came out, but you can get it back in, but just take mind of that. And then we're going to replace the Y-axis assembly of the original equipment with the extension shaft. So here we're just unscrewing all of the screws so that we can get that Y extension off and then get that put back on. And what we made sure to do was we have this magnetic bowl that we just got from Harbor Freight, and we were as diligent as we could be at making sure that we put all the screws back in there. And my son was really good with knowing which ones went back, and he remembered. With me, I would have had to divide them up a little bit, but he's really good at remembering things like that, and it's how his brain works, so that's good. And he's taking everything apart here, and that diode probably would be a good idea just to slide it off before we had done this. I think it would just have been easier to not have it slamming around or anything, but that's just something that we would do next time. And then here we are putting the legs together, the extensions on, and we're having to make more room for this thing on the table. It's just massive. It's pretty much double the size. So here we are with our screw little bucket there, and we're making sure that we take care of where everything goes. This extension rod I found to be a bit stressful, and it really wasn't bad because this is actually the second time we're putting it in, but it's just in a really bad spot. I know it has to be there. Just a little bit hard to get to, but once you get the hang of things and you do it a lot, I guess it would be okay. But things for us, they're just turning, and my nurse approved has come up because it's just an area where you just need to take a deep breath and just try to realize that you're doing this as a DIY craft, and you need to just relax, really. And here I'm showing you the bolt that he was just, the belt that he was just adjusting there, and he was just putting that rod back on. And this step 7, it's just kind of in a weird place to me in the book. It says equipment assembly completed. All right, well, we didn't have ours completed yet, so we just went ahead and completed it. It's pretty much just had to screw everything back together, and it's not that it's in a bad spot, I just thought it was a little weird. But anyway, we have gone and put on those end pieces for the ATEZR and got them back on, and here we're putting the feet back on and just using the screws that came out of there originally and putting them back in. And our original assembly, or when we originally assembled the P20 ATEZR, we had this kit that had all of the Allen wrenches in it, and it had a wrench and everything that we needed. So we got that back out, and we were able to use that with this. They didn't provide the Allen wrenches again this time, and then when you go back to assemble, you pretty much would go back to that. If you had any questions, you'd go back to that book. But here, this is the belt that turns. This is our favorite rod again, and what we're patiently trying to do is to get this rod tightened back up again and on, and it rolls, and I guess after a few times it does get better. But what I did was I eventually stuck my hand in there and I held that rod and tried to get it to not to turn so that he could get that turned. It's just awkward, and it's really, I'm just being nitpicky really, it's really not that bad. And then the gantry goes back on now, and that part will be assembled. But that too, as I was saying before, it may be better just to take the diode off for a little while. But it really, since there was two of us, we were able to hold it, but it will go sliding on you if you're by yourself. You have to have like 3 hands, so, and I'm showing you the book here on step 6, because what we did for step 1, when we're putting this cable in, you have to go over by the gantry, and then the other step 2 is by the motor, and you start plugging in your connectors, and that step 3 is behind the diode, and that's where that cable comes in, the 5-pin to the 4-pin cable. This wasn't till later in the book, but we figured it out in advance, but that's just where it's located. And getting all of those, so we couldn't really focus into the tight space to show you where all those wires are, but the book does a really good job of showing you the location and where each one goes, so that wasn't bad. And now here we have the cable buckles, and we are looking at the book really doesn't show locations for these, so what we're doing is we're just figuring out where they would go and where they would go best. And they have that sticky back. You just have to pull off the red paper, and some of them did have stickiness to them and 1 or 2 didn't. So here he's just lining up the cable and getting that in, and just making sure that it has a little bit of slack in it and that it moves, because it's going to need to move along. All right. And here we're just moving the gantry along, and we're taking a look about that placement. Did we get it right? It's kind of going to fold back on itself. And also, I originally had these wires under everything, and it's better for them to go over. And then you can see that wire that goes on the back of the diode, and that's a better view. It actually extends onto there, and it does that 5-pin to 4-pin adaptation. All right, and using Lightburn, you're going to connect. My serial port is COM4, so I went into laser, went on COM4, then you go into edit, and then you go into machine settings. And this is to extend your travel, because you only have it going halfway. So in order for it to go all the way, you need to go down, you go to output setup, and then you go down to max travel, and you change that number to 850. And it's described very well in the book. All right, and now we're going to show you the movement. And this is going from home, going to home. And then here you can hear the sound of it also, and I actually have it quiet right now because I was talking, but that was the sound that it makes. It's loud, I'm sure most of them are. I don't really have anything to compare them to because this is my first one, so it makes some noise. And then the air assist that's over on the left hand side, that gets connected to the tube gets connected to the diode, and it just goes to the left hand side of the diode, and that is pretty loud also, but that's just no complaints there. I mean, not being picky or anything. I would like that it makes a sound. It doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, we didn't really find any bother in the level of it. I know that sometimes people like things to be quieter, but this is, it's a bit loud, but nothing really to get concerned about. We're very happy with it, and I think it's a very nice machine. And here we are out in the garage where this machine's going to be kept for a little while. I'm by my garage door, so it's and I have a fan the size of a wind tunnel, so I can move my table over to my garage door, and I have a lot of ventilation in there, and it is like a wind tunnel. So here's the sound. I'll start it up, and I'll let you listen to that. And here's an overall view. I had gotten these two honeycombs from Amazon, and I have them bolted together. That's a temporary situation there. I'm gonna figure out a better way there so I don't have those bolts sitting up on the end there. Overall, I just really like the setup that we have so far, and that is our unboxing and assembly of the KE-ATEZR 1094 extension on the ATEZR P20 Diode Laser. All in all, we were very impressed. This machine's well built, easy to put together, with some weirdness, but for the most part, we know we're going to put it to good use and then some. We hope you learned as much as we did while making this video. We are working on our channel towards a goal of 500 subscribers, and we hope to have over 1,000 soon. If you like this video, we would be appreciative if you would subscribe and help us towards our goals and dreams. That way we can make more videos like this one. There's also a wonderful laser community on YouTube, and we would like to recommend you to go to their channels and check them out. To research and purchase our first diode laser and assemble it, we watched Louisiana Hobby Guy, Valley Forged, Clack Shack, and Vintauri. For a comprehensive video on Lightburn, we watched Ash DIY. We'll link their channels below. And for our subscribers, we appreciate you so very much. And if you are new to our channel, welcome, welcome. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.